Wow, I didn't think you were going to read that. Where do I want to begin? I was in a washroom years ago, and something I noticed on the door, the topic of this long poster said ways to build community. And they listed about 100 ways. I only remembered the first two. Number one, turn your TV off. Number two, leave home. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the best advice I can have for you today. I'm here today essentially because I'm a Toastmaster. And that doesn't mean that I can make toast well or give a toast well. This is an international organization in leadership and communication skills around the world. And what it does most is teach you how to get out of your comfort zone. Now, do you know why they call it your comfort zone? Because you're comfortable. That's why they call it the comfort zone. And over here, outside your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. And so over here, when you're in your comfort zone all comfortable, and you stretch over here to where the magic happens, very shortly after, it becomes your comfort zone. And then you have to do it again and again in order to grow. That's the way it happens. So in Toastmasters, I've been a member for 10 years, and I have been learning how to speak. And over that time, they have contests every year. And I usually participate because as a Toastmaster, if you don't participate in the contest, you have to do all the background work, like Suzanne and her team. I'd much rather be up here. 2 months ago, I wrote probably my 60th or 70th speech called 3 Small Words. And it is very unexpected to me, and hopefully to you, how this idea of this speech spread into a movement over the last 2 months. And I know that's happened because the day of the contest, after the contest, I won. And that isn't even the most important part that happened. The most important part that happened is one of my competitors, who's here today in that very same contest, immediately after the contest, he came up and he put his arm around me and he said, "Sandi, way to go." And that's how it started. I started to get emails from people using their own 3 small words. I started having people come up to me and say, "Hey, I heard your talk. It's really made a difference to me." And this morning when I got here, 2 people that are on the TEDx committee that were there for my audition a month ago or whenever that was, approached me today and they said, "Sandi, I gotta tell you, the 3 small words, this is what happened. I was out jogging." It was Megan, and she said, "I was out jogging, and I was nauseous, and I wanted to quit." And I remembered one of your 3 small word strategies. I snapped out of it, and I kept going. And then somebody else told me, and somebody else told me. And so today, what I want to do is I want to walk you through what started as a simple 5-minute speech that to me, very unexpectedly, has turned into something being contagious and a movement. And I tried to link it to the 3D, and I'm not that scientific. So I guess in explaining how it links to the theme is that the speech was made because of something that I learned, and then I was able to share it with somebody else, something that they learned. And then the third part was they were able to feed it back to me and catch me when I wasn't walking my talk. 3 small words. Our society is very busy. But even if it weren't, what I want to talk to you today about is how busy our minds are. Did you know that we have upwards to 70,000 thoughts per day? And those aren't just random thoughts. Those turn into debates, arguments, should I or shouldn't I? And it's a spin that goes on in here. And lots of us aren't even aware that we're having those kinds of thoughts because we're so busy going from here to here and try to get our to-do list done. We're not aware of what we're thinking. And today I'm hoping that I'm going to show you a way to snap out of the thinking, take charge, and start talking back to that self-talk that's going on up here in the busyness. Does anybody here experience a busy mind, stress, anxiety, fear? Show of hands. 3 people, 4 people. Okay, a few of us, yes. I didn't realize I had anxiety. I just thought it was stress until I had a breakdown. And the most embarrassing thing about my breakdown is that I was a motivational speaker and a wellness coach. And I was teaching all kinds of people in the corporate world, in the personal world, and in the wellness world, all the things that you could do to conquer stress, to reduce your stress, to live a more balanced life. That's what I was teaching, but I wasn't practicing it. And that was my demise. This is what I had been trained to do. I had been trained to multitask. As a parent, as a worker, you have one kid on a hip, you're stirring something, you're answering the phone, this girl is putting on her eye makeup, having her coffee, hopefully at a stop sign. And what happens is that we feel like we want to pull our hair out a lot during the day because we feel like we have too much to do and we cannot quiet that mind. Myself, I did not realize how busy my mind was until I signed up for a meditation class. And all you had to do was nothing. And I tried it, and it took me so much effort. It's taken me probably 7 years to successfully learn how to meditate as a practice and quiet that mind. The first strategy that I learned, funny enough, was not in meditation class. That strategy that I learned when I was a palliative care volunteer about a decade or so ago. And the trainers taught us volunteers that in order to do the best possible job, in order to be with a client, to be really present with them while we were spending that time, that they advised us when we got to the hospital or when we got to their home and we stopped our car, they asked us to take 3 deep breaths before we went in. And they did that to maximize our thoughts to become present, so that when we were there, we were there. We were not thinking about picking up the kids in the grocery store and the car that had to be taken in to get the snow tires taken off in June, that sort of thing. So we were thinking only of being present. And I used the skill, it worked. When I became a trainer, I taught the skill, and it worked. And then I forgot about it, as we often do. We need reminders in our self-development. 3 deep breaths has been a big part of my life for the last 2 months in preparing for the contests at Toastmasters at many levels and also for preparing for today. While you people were having lunch, I was taking about 20 deep breaths in a washroom stall just to get myself grounded. It works. Our minds are so busy, even when we're in the shower, we are thinking way ahead of ourselves about the traffic, what we're going to wear, are our pants going to fit, all that kind of stuff. We're not thinking of the smell of the shampoo and the fabulous gift of hot water, as Sheetal was saying earlier, that we have hot water. We're not thinking of that. And those 3 deep breaths can get us grounded. There's lots of ways that 3 deep breaths can help us lower our stress, change our physiology. And an important one of those that I also want to speak to is around how we set up our days. We're getting up at 6 and we're, doing something at 7 and we're at work at 8 and maybe the kids at daycare at 9 and then we have a meeting at 10 and then we have a luncheon at 12:30 and then at 3 o'clock we have a check-in and then at 4 o'clock we're picking up the kids for some. Does this sound familiar to anybody here? Okay, that's the way we are structuring our time. Not only that, when we open our date books and someone calls and says, can you do this for me on Tuesday? And we look at our date book or our calendar and there's a little empty spot. And what do we say? Yeah, I can do that because we have an empty spot there. 3 deep breaths can really work in transitioning throughout your day. So if you get in your car in the morning and before you start it, or while it's defrosting is a perfect time in Sudbury, take those 3 deep breaths. When you get to the office, rather than turn your car, a couple of times I've actually tried to get out of my car with my seatbelt still on. That's how much in a hurry I've been. Take your seatbelt off, take those 3 deep breaths. See what a difference it makes to that busying mind and that downward spiral thoughts. Another strategy that has helped me not only in my recovery from my breakdown, but also before that and continues to work today. We feel fear, we feel anxiety, we feel stress. Thoughts go through our mind like, what if I don't get the job? What if when I get there, what if there's traffic? What if they don't like me? What if my boss is a Not a nice person. What if my daughter comes home pregnant? What if my son crashes the car? These things run through our mind. It's a downward spin. And one thing that can help you is to chant this. I'll handle it. I'll handle it. What if this happens? I'll handle it. What if that happens? I'll handle it. I learned this technique from Susan Jeffers, who wrote a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. This was one of the strategies that stuck with me. And she said that the reason that we have all of these what ifs and worries and stress is because we don't believe we'll be able to handle if something happens to us that's not nice or a tragedy. And so by chanting out and using these 3 small words, I'll handle it, you begin to feel more confident and you begin to think that, yeah, maybe you will. I'll handle it. I'll handle it. So that was the second strategy. The third one is that sometimes we have so much to do that we tell ourselves how much we have to do, and we tell anybody who'll listen how much we have to do. And when we ask people, how are you? What do they say? Busy. I am so busy. I have to get home. I have to face the traffic. I have to look after the kids and the dogs. I have a pile of work to do. I have to get to that bank. I have to. And by repeating all the things that we have to do, we get smaller and smaller because the load gets bigger and bigger. And sooner or later, what happens is life begins a chore, begins to seem like a chore. The joy goes away. I have to go to work. I have to cut the grass when I get home. I have to pick up the kids. Oh, I have to do laundry. And all of a sudden, are you really excited to be here? Change one small word and change I have to into I get to. Same chore list, same kids you gotta pick up, same grocery shopping, but when you say, I get to cut the grass, I get to pick up the kids, I get to cut the grass because I have a lawnmower, and I know how to work it, and I have a lawn. I get to pick up the kids because I have kids. I get to go to the bank because I have an account. I get to do groceries because I've got money to buy groceries. Just that little change, using those 3 small words, I get to, changes something about me in my body, and I think it'll change something about you. I don't always believe in myself. I'm getting better at it. And I know that most of us, there are times that we don't always believe in ourselves. And sometimes it takes somebody else to believe in you before you believe in yourself first. And I learned that through a personal trainer. I went to a silent auction. It was a charity, and who was it that said that they danced for hours and hours for some charity? Well, I went to a silent auction and a fundraiser, and nobody was bidding on this bid for 3 months of a personal trainer 3 times a week. I bid $200 thinking someone's going to bid. Nobody bid, and I won the personal trainer. I was ecstatic till I got to her studio. Meet my fitness trainer, Lauralee Arsenault, Fit Bodies, Sudbury. I would want to run. She took me from a person who the only exercise I know is to go for a walk. I love to walk in the bush. I love to walk my dog. She took me, I kept saying to her, I don't want to look like that or be like that. I'm not training for the, marathon. I just want to be fit. And she would stretch me sometimes so far that when I thought I could not do one more press or one more leg lift, I wanted to give up. And she would lean in really close to me, right close to my ear, as I was huffing, puffing, sweating, and wanting to eject out of the building. And she'd say, Sandy, you got this. You got this. And I'd think to myself, I got this. And instead of being able to do only 8 of the leg lifts, I might have done 9 or 10 or 12. And I thought, wow, this is an interesting concept. 3 small words turned out for me to be a movement. And what happened was, as I was learning to use these 3 small words, as I was sharing these 3 small words, then I have teenagers. Did I mention that? They would say, when I was feeling anxiety and, what am I going to do? TED Talks, are you kidding me? How am I going to use PowerPoint? Hey, you'll handle it. Oh, I'll handle it. Yeah, that's how I'll do it. I'll handle it. When I would be worried and fearful and self-doubtful and not believing in myself, I might just walk by a mirror myself and say, hey, Sandy, you got this. And it changed my confidence level. It snapped me out of self-doubt. It snapped me out of anxiety and disbelief and not a whole bunch of confidence. And just by using these words, use them often, they really changed the way that I saw the world. And so I think this is really, to me, a fabulous opportunity worth spreading. Because when you get this, not only, you don't have to use my 3 small words, you can use your own small 3 words. Nike used, just do it. Barack Obama used, yes, we can. There's all kinds of them. Way to go was another one. The Staples company uses, that was easy. Something that can shift you out of fear, shift you out of stress, or shift you out of anxiety. 3 small words. So, just to prove my point, I want you to say with your finger and with attitude, out loud, I got this. I got this. All right, now look at the person next to you and say, you'll handle it. Right on. Last exercise, I want you to take 3 deep breaths with me. But before you do, I just want you to get a feel. Just get a feel of your head, what's going on. If you're the next speaker, if you're the last speaker, if you're coming on soon and you're feeling some stress, you're feeling some anxiety, or maybe you have to go home and fight with a teenager or do something. I want you just to think about it for a moment. And I want you with me because I still have 1 minute and I want to show you this takes no extra time. It costs nothing. You don't need running shoes, nothing. You're already breathing. I want to show you how breathing mindfully can change your physiology, can lower your stress. So please do this with me. Are you ready? Now, in the advanced class, you can, in your mind, put a picture of a loved one or a puppy. Or you can put a picture of love and tension as you're exhaling. 3 deep breaths. Try it. Try it with attitude. Try it with gratitude. But most importantly, try it.